The first punch had not even been thrown when the humiliation began. The laughter echoed across the dusty training ground like gunfire. 700 men in sharp black uniforms stood behind steel barricades, their boots aligned, their eyes filled with cold amusement. At the center of them stood their leader, Captain Park Jae-hyun, arms folded, smirking as he stared down at the 10 Filipino commandos standing alone in the open yard. The sun burned overhead, sweat already running down spines, but the Koreans laughed as if this was a circus. 10? Park called out in broken English. You send only 10? The crowd roared. The Filipino unit remained silent, their commander, Major Rafael Raf del Rosario, staring straight ahead, jaw tight, fists clenched behind his back. Raf had heard arrogance before. He had faced it in insurgent camps, in jungle operations, in political meetings where foreign officers underestimated them, but never like this, never so public, so mocking. The agreement had been clear, a joint counterterrorism drill between elite units, 700 from Korea's 700th Special Mission Battalion against 10 from the Philippine Scout Rangers. It was meant to be symbolic cooperation. Instead, Park had turned it into a spectacle. Raf felt heat crawl up his neck, not from the sun, but from shame. His men stood still behind him. He could feel their breathing, slow, controlled, waiting. He made one silent vow. When this ended, the laughter would stop. Raf included. Strength is not measured by size. We are small, but mighty. The signal flare hissed into the air. It had barely burst into smoke when the Korean formation surged forward in a wide, confident wave. They expected intimidation to break the 10 men before contact. Instead, Raf shouted one word, split, and his unit scattered like controlled shrapnel. 2 commandos flanked left, 3 rolled into cover behind broken cement barriers, 1 climbed a low structure in seconds. The first Korean squad charged carelessly, laughing still, until a precise leg sweep took one soldier down. A clean elbow shattered another's nose. The laughter cracked. Raf moved like a blade through cloth. He didn't rush blindly. He targeted leaders, destabilized balance, used momentum against them. A Korean soldier lunged with a baton. Raf sidestepped, trapped the arm, twisted. There was a sharp pop of a shoulder dislocating. The man screamed. The sound cut through the field. The crowd noise shifted from laughter to confusion. 10 men were not standing still. They were dismantling. Every Filipino commando fought with tight efficiency, low kicks to knees, controlled takedowns, chokes that forced taps. They were not flashy, they were surgical. And within minutes, the first wave of Korean soldiers lay gasping in the dust. "This is unbelievable," Captain Park murmured, and the pride smile faded. He barked rapid orders, frustration cracking through his composure. He had assumed intimidation would win this. Instead, he was watching discipline humiliate numbers. He signaled for tighter formations. This time, they would swarm. Over 100 moved forward together, shields raised, batons ready. The ground vibrated beneath their boots. Dust rose thick into the air. Raf saw the shift instantly. "Containment!" he shouted. His men regrouped, backs to each other in a rotating defensive circle. The impact was brutal. Shields slammed into ribs, batons cracked against forearms raised in defense. One Filipino soldier, Corporal Diaz, took a blow to the temple and staggered. Blood streamed down his eyebrow, blurring one eye. The Koreans shouted in triumph, but Diaz roared back, driving his knee into a groin, headbutting another soldier so hard both men collapsed. The circle held. Raf felt a baton slam into his shoulder, white pain flashing through him. He swallowed it. Pain was information. He adjusted his stance, trapped a shield, and used it to flip its owner onto his back. The crowd noise was no longer confident. It was tense. Something was wrong.
30 minutes in, the ground looked like a battlefield. Groans, coughing, the metallic smell of blood mixing with sweat and dust. The scoreboard above the field, originally meant for symbolic scoring, began ticking 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Each point marked a disabled squad. The Koreans were losing structure. Pride made them rush. Anger made them sloppy. Raf saw it clearly. They were fighting emotionally now. That was their mistake. Park himself stepped forward. His presence silenced the field. He was taller than Raf, broader, eyes burning with fury. "Enough games," he said quietly. Then he attacked. Fast, brutal. His first strike slammed into Raf's ribs like a hammer. Raf felt air leave his lungs. He stumbled. The Koreans cheered wildly, hope flaring. Park pressed, fists like pistons, but Raf absorbed, retreated 2 steps, then shifted. He baited an overextension. Park swung wide in rage. Raf dropped low, pivoted, and drove his shoulder into Park's abdomen, flipping him over his hip. The Korean captain hit the dirt hard. Silence fell like a curtain. Park scrambled up, face red, pride wounded more than body. He attacked again, less controlled now. The exchange became raw, fist to fist, sweat spraying with every impact. Raf tasted blood in his mouth. Park landed a heavy hook that split Raf's lip open. The Filipino Commandos shouted encouragement, but they did not intervene. This was leader against leader. A statement had to be made. Park attempted a spinning back kick, flashy, powerful. Raf anticipated it. He stepped inside the arc and drove 3 tight punches into Park's exposed ribs. A crack. Raf gasped, seized his wrist, twisted, and forced him down onto his knees in front of both units. The entire 700th Battalion watched their captain kneeling in the dust. Raf did not speak. He simply held him there, breathing hard, eyes steady. The scoreboard changed again, 7-0. The humiliation was complete, and it was public.
Humiliation breeds desperation. The Koreans, enraged, launched a chaotic surge without coordination. It was no longer a drill. It was wounded pride attacking recklessly. That was when mistakes multiplied. Filipino Commandos exploited overcommitment, using grapples and environmental advantage. One Korean soldier slipped in the dust and collided into his own teammate. Another swung blindly and struck his own shield man. Raf's shoulder throbbed, vision slightly blurred from swelling. He felt exhaustion creeping in. But he also saw cracks everywhere in the opposing ranks. "Stay calm," he barked to his men. They responded instantly. Calm against chaos, precision against pride. The scoreboard hit 8-0, then 9-0. Every point cut deeper into Korean morale. Park tried to stand tall, but pain bent him slightly. He ordered one final coordinated assault. What remained of organized squads moved forward. The field was eerily quiet now. No laughter, no jeers, only boots scraping and heavy breathing. Wrath felt the weight of expectation. If they faltered now, everything would reverse. The clash was shorter but vicious. Diaz, still bleeding, executed a perfect armbar that forced a surrender. Another ranger used a shield as leverage to throw 2 opponents simultaneously. Raf engaged Park one final time. Park was slower now, breath ragged. Their fists collided in a blur. Raf feinted high, then delivered a crushing body shot. Park dropped to one knee again. The scoreboard flashed, 10-0. The whistle blew. It echoed across a field of broken pride. 700 men stood in stunned quiet, looking like castrated human beings. No laughter, no shouting. Some stared at the ground, others helped injured teammates up.
Sweat dripped from helmets. The humiliation was not theatrical. It was heavy, suffocating. Park's eyes were glassy, not from pain, but from realization. Raff extended his hand. For a long moment, Park hesitated. Then he took it. The gesture was small, but it carried weight. Pride had cost them discipline, and discipline had won. That night, Park stood before his battalion. No rage, no excuses. He admitted their failure. "We lost because we mocked," he said quietly. The words tasted bitter. Soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Humiliation had burned away illusion. Raff met privately with his men. He did not celebrate wildly. "Respect everyone," he told them. "Today it was them. Tomorrow it could be us." Victory felt heavy, not joyful. It had been earned through pain. Months later, the two units trained together again. This time, there was no laughter. There was focus. Park and Raff sparred once more, not as enemies, but as equals. Their strikes were measured, respectful. The memory of 0 to 10 remained carved into both battalions. Pride had led to humiliation. Humiliation had led to growth. And on that dusty field, where laughter once rang, only discipline remained.